the Tortured Poets department gets the hate Midnights should have gotten. You said it, not me. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be going through all of your unpopular opinions about the Tortured Poets department. I asked you guys on my Instagram to submit your unpopular opinions about the Tortured Poets department so we can sit down and react to them together. I am genuinely scared because I've read some of these and I don't think we were listening to the same album. But if you're new, hi, my name is Alexis. I am 24 years old and I love Taylor Swift. If you want to follow me on all of my other social medias, they will be linked down below. I post a lot of Swiftie content, so feel free to catch up on there. But without further ado, let's hop into your unpopular opinions. And some of them are very, very unpopular. Okay, I screenshotted all of the ones that I wanted to share with you guys today. They're kind of in a random order, so I'm just gonna read off the first one I see. First one I see is Fortnite shouldn't have been a single. I kind of agree and disagree with this one. I love Fortnite. I think it is a really good starter track for the album. However, there are so many other songs that I would have loved to see be a single and have a music video. Like, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, so good, so theatrical. I would have loved to see a music video for that. My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, that would have been so good as a single, in my opinion. I also think having The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived be a single would have been so good. I think that, honestly, is my track 5 for the album. Like, if I had to switch out track 5 and put another song there, The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived would take that slot. However, if we're thinking about what should have been a lead single, I honestly think Fortnite was a pretty good lead single. Like, even the first line of Fortnite is a really good picture of what the album is and what she's kind of trying to illustrate. So I honestly don't know if I agree with this one wholeheartedly. I think the song isn't like my favorite song on the album, but as a single, especially a lead single, I think it serves what it needed to. And the music video is so good. The next one is, without the anthology, Tortured Poets would not have been a top 5 album for me. This is a popular one that I got on either side of the spectrum. So many people were like, Tortured Poets is better off without the anthology. And then other people are like, the anthology is what makes Tortured Poets. And I'm like, people are so split down the middle with this one, I think. Personally, I love the anthology songs, but to me, they don't add really anything to the Tortured Poets department storyline that like the main album does, if that makes sense. So although I understand the like favoriting of the anthology because it's amazing, I really don't think I would personally say that I favor the anthology over the main album, personally. But this is one that I got a lot of like people on either side of the argument. Next one is the Tortured Poets department gets the hate Midnights should have gotten. You said it, not me. Listen, okay? I love Midnights. I love Midnights. There's some really good songs on there. I am a huge Question stan. However, I'm also a real big fan of storyline, okay? And the storyline on Midnights is very lost to me, okay? That's just me. I think the storyline and the execution of the Tortured Poets department is so much more superior than the execution of Midnights. Midnights, to me, although the tracks are amazing, the storyline and the message of Midnights is very messy to me, okay? And with Tortured Poets department, it's very neat to me. It's very put in a little bow. It's a perfect storyline. You can see the trajectory. I don't see that with Midnights. And the hate that Tortured Poets department has been getting from many people on the sides of the internet and the listeners of this album is something that I do not agree with. And I would have to say that this opinion is one that I can understand. 100%. Love you, Midnights, but like, this makes a lot of sense to me, okay? Next one. The note change at the end of Fresh Out the Slammer is a no for me. Lyrics are superior, and Love of My Life is so underrated. Facts. In regards to Fresh Out the Slammer, I 100% agree. I love the messaging behind Fresh Out the Slammer, and I think I talked about it in my rankings of the entire track list. I really, really love the lyrics and the imagery messaging in that song in its entirety. However, there is one line, okay? One line at the very end that grinds my gears, okay? And that is the part when she says, wearing imaginary rings. I don't know what it is about that, but that line has one too many syllables for me. It like doesn't match up with like the tempo of how she's singing the outro. So like it really like, it rubbed me the wrong way, okay? I did not like that at all. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but that's immediately where my mind went when I read this opinion. I just don't like it. It's not a note change. I feel like she's singing it the same way, but there's one too many syllables in that line that it just doesn't flow like how she's singing the rest of the outro. I don't know. I agree, okay? Next one is the Tortured Poets Department isn't being given enough time to shine due to all of the reputation rumors. I agree. I think this is probably one of my biggest faults of the fun little clownery that we do all the time is we start clowning very quickly after we're given something, which I really don't like. Listen, I am not one to like create a theory or be like, oh my gosh, this is happening this day, but I am a big bandwagoner on the clownery, okay? If Twitter is fully convincing me of a theory, I'm like, oh wait, that makes sense, let me hop on that. Especially after Tortured Poets and with these Taylor's version releases, we have really gotten to the point where we're very, very like, okay, next thing. And I don't like that. I don't like it. Sometimes, I mean, like, you could probably find stuff on my Twitter or my Instagram where I'm like very much like, oh my gosh, what if this is happening today? But like looking back on it always, I'm like, ugh, that like, you know, we need to soak it in a little bit more. I think that really happened with like 1989 Taylor's version. Everyone was like, okay, when's Reputation? And then after Tortured Poets was announced, I really heavily noticed it of like, everyone was like, okay, when are we getting Reputation? Why are we getting a new album? Where's Reputation? And although I love how like we're very like, ooh, if this adds up to 13 and what if she's doing this on this tour date, I love that for us, but I think we all need to kind of take a step back and enjoy the things. Like we got 31 songs on Tortured Poets, and a couple days later people were like, okay, if she releases Reputation in Australia and announces it then, or what, you know, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. So I do agree with this opinion. However, I think all of us probably can relate to like sometimes we just get really excited when we see stuff on Twitter and we're like, oh, maybe Reputation is coming. But I do agree we need to maybe let it soak in a little bit more. All right, next one is the I'm having his baby line genuinely gave me the ick for a while. What? Oh my God, I remember like, I love looking back on me and my friends' reactions to that line because it's so funny. And when I see the reactions on TikTok, I'm like, this is hilarious that she just broke the fourth wall like this. I love that line. It's very like, I think what they forget to realize is, But Daddy I Love Him, the song is so ridiculous. And I think that's the point, that it's supposed to be like, well, I'm having his baby. Just kidding, look at your face. Like, it's supposed to be satire a little bit. Because if you think about like, when we're in those situations where like everyone hates the person we're with and we're like, but I love him, like you don't understand. We get into that defense of like, no, I love him, he's perfect, he's great. You don't know what you're talking about. And I think that song embodies that like delusional behavior that a lot of us sometimes feel when we love somebody that like our friends disapprove of. So I think that line served its purpose and I love that line. Disagree, heavily disagree. All right, next we have Taylor keeps dragging out the Kim K saga and needs to let it go. Excuse me? I'm sorry, but if that ever happened to me, in my life, girly would never let that go. I would go to the grave with that resentment, okay? I still have like friendship fallouts that happened in like high school where I'm like, listen, I'm just a girl, okay? I'm just a girl. But seriously, like, I feel like that opinion I've seen a lot since Tortured Poets came out, and thank you, Amy, and like all the things. But I heavily disagree, heavily disagree. That was such a big moment in Taylor's career and personal life. Like, I could not imagine if that happened to me and I almost lost my career. Everyone who I respected, who I was in the same industry with, started hating me. I would feel so much hurt and resentment even years later. So I do not blame her in the slightest for dragging it out or still writing about it. That was such a huge moment in her life. Like, I do not fault her in still writing about it or talking about it at all. At all. She's just a girl. She's just a girl, okay? I think you and I would do the same exact thing if this happened to us. That's just my opinion. Next one is, so high school should have been on the first half of the album. I don't agree with this one. I think a lot of people love it, and that's probably why they want it on the main portion of Tortured Poets and not the anthology. But because I'm a storyline girly, so high school doesn't contribute to what she's trying to do with the Tortured Poets department storyline at all. And I think it was a really good decision to put it on the anthology because it didn't relate to what she was trying to illustrate in the Tortured Poets department. If she threw it in there, it would have been very like a deviation of what we're talking about. So I think personally it was better suited for the second part of the album with the anthology. Next one, going back to the anthology versus Tortured Poets debate, we have the anthology is better than the standard album. Personally, here is my opinion. I love the Tortured Poets department a little bit better than the anthology if we were separating the two. However, in my brain, the anthology and the Tortured Poets department don't really get the like Folklore and Evermore treatment for me in my brain. They are kind of the same to me. Like they're the same album. When I think of the Black Dog, or when I think of the Albatross or Peter, I just think of the Tortured Poets department. I don't think of like, oh, that's the anthology. So to me, in my brain, they're just like all together in there. But if I had to choose and separate the two, I think I would probably choose the Tortured Poets department, just because, once again, I love the storyline of the Tortured Poets department. A lot of my favorite songs are on the standard album. Next one is, I wish she'd use a new photo for the anthology cover. I agree. I was kind of disappointed that she used the Black Dog cover for the anthology. I would have just loved a new cover that we hadn't seen before. And I know that like we don't have a physical version of the anthology and we have a physical version of the Black Dog, but it's just like confusing. It's like, I wish there was a very distinct cover for the anthology that like set it apart. I do agree wholeheartedly that I wish we got another cover, but I guess that would mean she would probably have to put out a physical version of it too, and not just a digital, which I don't know if she's doing or not, hopefully, but we'll see. But definitely agree with this one. All right, next one that we have is, the album could have been edited down to about 25 songs, if not less. Quality over quantity. I have heard this variation of opinion since the Tortured Poets department album came out. Listen, I don't think Taylor Swift cares. I really don't. She has gotten to the point of her career where she can literally do anything she wants and it will be successful. I will be standing in Target the next day trying to get that album regardless, okay? She has too much of my heart at this point. She can literally do whatever she wants and I will be sad. And would I have rather her not release the anthology part? Heck no. Are you kidding? Me not having ever listened to Peter? No, no. Part of me understands where like the general public is coming from, because I feel like this opinion lies more with the general public when they tune into the album and it's like 31 songs. It's a lot to have people digest in the general public. But at this point, like I said, I don't think Taylor cares I really, really don't. She is so about making the art and putting it out whenever she wants. Now that she is with this new record label since Lover, she can put out whatever she wants, and she has literally had so many years tied to another record label that didn't allow her to do that. And I feel like now in her career, she is just at the point where she's like, I'm gonna write things that I'm proud of and put them out because I'm proud of them, not because I want the general public to be able to digest or accept the album in the way that I want. Like, I'm gonna put out what I love because I'm proud of it. And that's that. Although I understand the quality over quantity thing, I don't view the anthology or like all of these extra songs as like not being quality. Maybe they didn't, you know, contribute to the storyline and the illustration of the Tortured Poets department, but they still served a purpose, and I would have rather have listened and had those songs rather than not having them at all and them live in the vault somewhere. So although I understand where some people in the general public are saying with this, I, as a Swiftie and a diehard Taylor Swift fan, don't agree. And the last unpopular opinion that I have is, if the anthology was released even a few days later, it would have been so much easier to digest. I agree. Although I loved staying up late and like the thrill of it coming out at 3 a.m. or whatever it did, I think it would have been such an even equal or bigger showstopper if she released it almost like Evermore, where it was a couple months later or maybe a couple weeks or even a few days. I think that would have shown just the same amount of shock value that it did when we found out at 2 a.m. that we had another album. However, I think personally, the reason why she released the anthology so close to when the Tortured Poets department came out, literally a few hours later, is because they're meant to go together. I don't personally think that the anthology could have existed as its own separate album like Evermore did. It didn't have the storyline and the messaging that a normal album like Evermore or Tortured Poets Department or Reputation or Folklore had. So I think that's the reason why she put them so close together, so the relation is still there, that it's like, it's a double album. They are together. It's like an extension of the Tortured Poets Department and not so much a separate album. So although I agree that it would have been a lot easier to get a really good night's rest on April 19th, I do really love the fact that it came out so close together, and I kind of understand maybe the decision of doing that. And with that being said, that is all of the unpopular opinions that I got from you guys. Let me know your thoughts on any of these opinions. I am so curious. The beautiful thing about music is everyone forms their own different perspective and attachment to these songs, to these albums, and I think equally all of that is so, so beautiful. It's literally the point of music. So let me know your thoughts on all of the opinions that we talked about today. Once again, if you are not already, please subscribe and follow me on my other social media accounts. I will have my Instagram and my TikTok on the screen and linked down below, along with some other things. And also let me know what kind of videos you would like to see on this channel. I have a lot of fun ideas coming up, so I can't wait to show them to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! Y'all are crazy. Y'all are crazy.